What is going on, One Piece fans out there? It is chapter 1080 of One Piece that just dropped, entitled The Legendary Hero. It is your boy, Soga King to a God, and we are going to talk about this chapter today. I am so excited. It's been 2 weeks since we've seen One Piece. Got another chapter. Make sure to like, subscribe, so I can keep talking to you guys about One Piece, and you guys can talk to me, and we can keep this conversation rolling. So let's get this started with the cover story. The cover story basically just shows Hiyori, and then we get to see my boy Kawamatsu, and they're just basically playing with origami. Cute stuff, but let's get into the chapter. I'm going to be going into the chapter, just going to be talking about it. I'm sure you guys all read the chapter already, right? So I'm just going to talk about some of the stuff that really stood out to me. Right now, it seems like we are getting Blackbeard versus Sword, basically. The regular Marines are not willing to go and save Captain Kobe right at this moment. And so Sword is stepping up to take back Captain Kobe. Now, we see a few things that are interesting to me. Obviously, Aokiji, being a former Marine Admiral, he's privy to all this information. Even Blackbeard didn't know about Sword, but Aokiji basically fills in Blackbeard. Their conversation seems pretty open, so like the dialogue is pretty open, but Aokiji basically fills in Blackbeard, tells him that Sword is a part of the Marines, basically Marines who quit, but they still like want to be Marines, so they fight on the side of Marines, but like they are able to do things that the Marines are when they're like not able to do stuff. The Sword can take in and do stuff on their own actions. They basically are lawless, and they, similar to pirates, they function, they do what they want. So when Garp said that, Garp acts this way, although it doesn't right now, it doesn't say that Garp is part of Sword, but Garp acts this way. We know Kobe's part of Sword, and we know Drake. Where is he? I'm not sure, but we know Drake is part of Sword as well. And so Aokiji fills in Blackbeard about this information, and Blackbeard basically says, if their plan is to just leave Kobe out to dry, I'm going to make sure the world knows that we have Kobe and force the world government to make a decision and to do something about it. Now we know that Blackbeard is out getting Law, so like is Law have something to do with this plan? Or I want to know, kind of where Blackbeard's plan is from here. But right now we see that Blackbeard left a couple people on the island. San Juan Wolf, Vasco Shot, Shiryu, and Avalo Pizarro. These are all mans that Blackbeard left to protect the island, watch over Kobe. So in the last chapter, we saw that one of Blackbeard's ships was approaching Egghead, so we know it can't be one of those people. Now I'm personally in the boat thinking that it is Aokiji on that boat, just because of all the Ohara references. We know we can get something like that from here, and plus even Saul mentions. So right now I'm feeling that it's Aokiji on that boat. But yeah, it's interesting seeing that these people were the ones that were left behind. So since we know that the Blackbeard pirates who are fighting on a certain sea with the Heart pirates are Marshall Teach, Jesus Burgess, Van Auger, and Doc Q, and then we see that the Blackbeard pirates who are left on the island at this time are Avalo Pizarro, Shiryu, San Juan Wolf, and Vasco Shot. We can assume that the people on the boat heading to Egghead it could be including, it could include Pudding, but it's going to be Katarina Devon, Lafitte, and Aokiji. So these are the basically who has to be on that, or maybe a little less of them, but these are the people who I'd expect to be on that boat. Aokiji also kind of feels like he could also be a potential member of Sword, because considering it says that people who willingly left the Marines and can act on their accord. We saw with X-Drake, he left the Marines and he put himself undercover in the workplace of Kaido. So this could be a similar thing that we could see with Aokiji. Blackbeard doesn't seem to be fearful of him at this moment, taking his information at face value. Aokiji putting, he could be just covering some certain stuff up that Sword does, giving him the information he wants in a certain way. And maybe Kobe is aware of the fact of, Aokiji's involvement in Sword. Aokiji's face did kind of look like, he thought about, he just mentioned Sword, like I have to bring it up. But like, yeah, I feel like no matter what, I'm under the impression that Aokiji, even though he's on Blackbeard's side, he is not totally antagonistic, at least not at this point, and we need to hear exactly why he joined Blackbeard's side, because like he said to Smoker, he's not a bad guy. So that makes me think that Aokiji still has some type of plan, and he's doing his part from the inside. Now, we see Kobe running around the island. Basically, he's saving all the slaves, and he's saving all the slaves. The slaves are praising him, and his idea is, I'm gonna run and distract all the people so that the slaves can get away. So at least Kobe's like, if they're gonna go after somebody, they're gonna go after me and leave all the other people behind. And he's just basically being a hero. And Kobe's, he's really that guy. He's running around holding a giant ball. I found that funny because like he should know Rokushiki techniques, right? So can he just cut that iron ball off? We see in this chapter Perona. Surprisingly, Perona is on Hachinosu, and she is trying to get Moria to be saved. So we know that Moria is in a prison as well. And that makes me think, like, why was Moria in prison? Was he somebody who, like, I was under the impression that Moria was going to go on Blackbeard's team, but I guess not. And who else could be in prison? There could be a similar thing where we see, like, Ochoku, the guy who used to run Pirate Island. He could be also in prison there too. We don't actually see Moria in this chapter, so I wonder if Moria is going to be somebody we see upcoming, and if Moria is going to be any more powerful than we saw before. But yeah, Perona is the person who actually helped Kobe escape, which surprised me a little bit. Now, going into what we see from basically Blackbeard's commanders. So we see San Juan Wolf, Vasco Shot, Shiryu, and Avalo Pizarro all on the island, and then we also get a text box that tells us all of their devil fruit. So San Juan Wolf ate the giant fruit. Vasco Shot ate the glug glug fruit, which we don't know what it does right now, but it probably has something to do with his moniker as the heavy drinker. So it's like some type of glutton-based fruit. Maybe he can eat or drink and do, like, maybe spit up stuff. He says he wants to burn down a whole part of the city, which was by the Rocky Port. So like so maybe that has to do something to do. Maybe he'll just takes a bunch of alcohol, he can spit it all out. I don't know, but I'm sure Oda has a plan for that. Shiryu the Rain, he ate the clear fruit, which we know. And then Avalo Pizarro ate the island fruit, which seems to be similar to Pika's stone fruit, where Pika could become part of the floor, but it seems that Avalo Pizarro became the entire island, and we know that because he basically has a sense of where everybody is at all times. So if Blackbeard his plan were to come to fruition, Avalo Pizarro would know where everybody is at all times. Now, Blackbeard, he mentions in this chapter what his plan is for Pirate Island. He basically wants to push over, give Kobe in trade for Pirate Island to become recognized under the world government. So that would mean the world government, he would pay his taxes to the world government, and the world government would allow him to do whatever he wants on the island and not send Marines over to him. So basically it'd be like government supported piracy, because the island, it's a lawless pirate island. So Blackbeard wants to be the king of pirates, literally. Literally be the king of pirates. If he cannot do it one way, he's going to do it the other way. And, I don't know how Blackbeard is going to make this happen. Kobe doesn't seem to think that they will do that trade for him, but Blackbeard, like he said in his plan, is, he's going to put up Kobe. He's going to make sure everybody knows that Kobe, the hero, the saint that only does good things, is in Blackbeard's command, and he's going to force their hand by making sure that the world knows that, and the world knows that they're not going to do everything to get Kobe back. Later on in the chapter, we see basically that we see Marine officials have made their way onto the island, sword Marines to be specific, and they basically are doing a setup. They are pushing everybody into the middle, and then we see one new Marine. Her name is Kujaku, which we learn that she is the daughter of Suru, and she has the whip fruit, which allows her to tame anybody or anything, including inanimate objects. And she after they push everybody into the center, she makes the buildings basically wrap around them so that there's no escape. Next, we see Hibari, and she uses something from chapter 1073 cover story, the GP Vegapunk, the flower missile, the gunpowder flowers, the GP flower, and when they're all about to, give Kobe that Zack Fair ending, she turns all their bullets into flowers, and then Kobe escapes from the center with her. She also made Kobe a sandwich. She is just showing that, she's Kobe's bae, she's Kobe's ride or die, and I love to see it. I guess at this moment, they're not showing if she has a devil fruit or not. I'd guess not. She's also a commander of sort. We see Prince Groose, who we met, I think, in chapter 1061, and he has a devil fruit. He's a goo man. I don't know if that's a Logia or if that's just a Paramecia, but it seems like a powerful ability. He can make clones, basically, fake soldiers, and he uses them to help get everybody into the center. And then at the end, we see one of the craziest things. Garp basically flies his ship to the center, and then he hits one of the craziest attacks in One Piece that we've ever seen. Galaxy Impact. That's one of the craziest moves I've ever seen. Huge radius, huge like hockey. I would assume it's Conqueror's Haki, but one thing that I will say is when we see Conqueror's Haki usually being used, there is usually a sign of people being like passing out, getting like the foam at the mouth, especially when it's used on weaklings. So these seem like they're used on grunts. So I'm surprised that, Oda didn't have some grunts passing out before even the Galaxy Impact hit, but it looks like, I would assume that this is a Conqueror's Haki attack, and the radius is crazy. I don't even know where it go from here, but whew, that was like one of the craziest things I've ever seen in One Piece history. Garp is, I feel like before, Garp has been a little slept on, and Oda is at this point like, showing us what all these characters can do, showing us last chapter exactly how powerful Shanks is, now showing us exactly how powerful Garp is. This shows us in essence how powerful Rogers was, at least. So this is all like very, very important. Some questions that things that pop out of my mind, stand out in my head. Things like Cross Guild. This is the first time Cross Guild has been mentioned in like 14 or so chapters. No, maybe even more, like maybe 20 or so chapters. And I love Cross Guild. I've been looking for more mentions. We see it with Kobe's star rating, basically saying, oh, he's only a captain, he should be a 1-star, but he's actually 5 stars, which gives you 5 treasure chests. So that's kind of like an interesting rating system. I really wanted to know more from Cross Guild. Hopefully, now that we're seeing like the high ends of what these people can do, these top characters can do, maybe we can get something with Cross Guild next chapter, and we could see what Mihawk can do. In terms of the storylines for Egghead, we've had, the Straw Hat storyline, we've had this Kobe storyline, we have the Law storyline, we've had the Kid storyline, and lastly we have the Revolutionary storyline. So I hope that in the next chapter we can either go back to Blackbeard and Law and see what's going on with that storyline before we go back to the Straw Hat. I called it the Straw Hat storyline, but it really should be the Straw Hat and Bonnie storyline, because we know Bonnie has her own thing going on there. But hopefully in the next chapter, before we get back to Straw Hat and Bonnie, we get to see... Oh, and I didn't even mention Vivi, because Vivi has a storyline going on in the background too. But hopefully in the next chapter we can get the Law and Blackbeard storyline. You can re-up back on there. We can see where Blackbeard and Law are in their fight, and to what extent Blackbeard is gonna whip out his power against Law. Hopefully we can also see a storyline involving the Revolutionaries, because now that we're seeing the high extent to what these top characters can do, I feel like we should see what exactly is the extent of Dragon's power. I don't know where he'd use it, I don't know if he's coming to Egghead, but I would love to see the extent of Dragon's power. We've seen what Luffy can do, we've seen what Shanks could do, we've seen what Garp could do. Let's see what Dragon can do. We've been all waiting for this moment, and I feel like the longer we wait for Dragon to make his mark, the more anticipation I have for that moment. And you know, just talking about different things, I wonder like what the point of mentioning Moria was. Is Moria, what type of role could Moria play in the story? Will he be somebody who's antagonistic towards Blackbeard because of what he did to his crewmate? Because we do know that Moria is fiercely loyal, and he really, you know, he went all the way to Blackbeard to avenge his boy. So yeah, I wonder what we could see, if there's going to be another faction maybe created, if Moria could be somebody who ends up going to Cross Guild, or if Cross Guild gets involved in this fight at all. And I just wanted to say about Garp, I just feel like this Garp moment really reminds me of Marineford. It just reminds me of Whitebeard going to go get Ace. Garp is going to go get Kobe. He says, my beloved pupil. Like, that's crazy, because he went to this far for his pupil, but his adopted son, he wouldn't go this far for because of his like piracy. This is one of the things that stand out in this chapter to me. Is just like, as much of a G Garp is, I just really can't forgive him for not doing a damn thing to save Ace. Not one damn thing. Not lifting one damn finger. And I know he wanted to, but like, I really hope that at some point there's some type of him feeling bad about that, more bad, because I feel like he should mention it one more time. Maybe the next time he meets Luffy, I would love for Garp to say something like, I'm sorry about Ace, or you know, the next time they meet. Yeah, and moving forward, I wonder where we can go from here. Avalo Pizarro was trying to avoid damage to the island, and now there seems to be a ton of damage to the island. So I wonder how this fight's gonna go, if Shiryu of the Rain is going to dun off Garp. I feel like he's the most powerful of the Blackbeard's commanders that are on the island. I feel like maybe Shiryu the Rain could fight Garp, or maybe Avalo Pizarro can decide to fight Garp. They have a giant, so I wonder how that is going to factor in. And yeah, I'm just really confused about how this a whole fight can work. But I feel like after this chapter, we're gonna go into a different part. So it could be something like I said with Dragon or Cross Guild, hopefully, or maybe we go into the Bonnie flashback, or maybe we see Kuma is up to. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed chapter 1080. I thought 1080 is one of the craziest chapters we've ever gotten in One Piece. I had my head blown basically. I love this chapter. This chapter just blew my mind, and I'm ready for more One Piece. Unfortunately, we have another break next week. And we do know that after it's going to be May, it's going to be Golden Week, so we have some more breaks coming up. It's going to have to be one of those times, everyone sit tight, fasten your seatbelt. Oda's doing his thing right now. These chapters are amazing, so I can't even complain. So let's all get through this together. Guys, make sure to like, give me a comment down below. Just say if you liked the video. Just tell me, you know, what you're looking forward to in the next chapter. And make sure to subscribe to the channel. You know, Soge Kami out.